Hi, and welcome to the first Life Coaching with Jane Baldwin podcast. How are you doing? I'm doing great and I'm very excited to be here with you. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favourite topics, which is stress. For those of you who I already coach, you will know that awareness is key to everything and is the A of my ACE model, which stands for awareness, choice and empowerment. This self-awareness is in relation to your thoughts, feelings, behaviours, habits, beliefs, biases, action, non-action and results. These are all topics in themselves, so let's now focus on awareness in relation to stress. So what is stress? What does stress mean to you? How does it feel in your body? How does it affect you? What triggers it? Is it something you're recalling from your past? Something that's happening now, or something you are anticipating? How long does it last for? How do you deal with it? How do you feel when it's past? Take a moment to really think about these questions and write down your responses. Writing things down is a very important part of this and other processes. This is based in neuroscience, which evidences how externalizing thoughts, feelings, issues, etc., by writing them down either on paper or capturing electronically, is a more effective way of dealing with them rather than just thinking or talking about them. So back to stress. A definition I like is that stress occurs when we believe there is a gap between the demands on us versus our perceived capacity. It's that feeling of not having enough time in the day to get everything done that needs doing. It's when something else lands on your desk and joins a long list of other projects. It's a task that is beyond your passion or skill level. It can also occur when you get married, move home, see family, friends, or when your bills exceed the money you have. Stress is also highly contagious, so whether you realise you are stressed or not, others in your space will pick up on it. A thought here too to stress's close relation, anxiety. Stress, as I've said, is the feeling which occurs when another demand or requirement comes your way, which you don't feel you have the capacity for. Capacity could be in relation to your time, emotions, or physically. Anxiety, on the other hand, is the feeling that keeps you awake at night as your mind goes round and round on a spin cycle about how you're going to solve the problem itself. It's the restlessness of monkey mind, which can also result in indecisiveness, preoccupation, imagining future problems, rehashing old ones, and worrying endlessly about what-ifs, negative self-talk, and even depression. Stress can be either acute or chronic. Acute is short-term and can include the fight or flight response. It increases adrenaline, heart rate, blood pressure, immune function, memory focus and attention. We tend to like this kind of stress as it can provide energy, excitement and passion. Then there's chronic stress, which is long-term and can create freeze or faint responses. It increases cortisol, inflammation occurs, glucose gets stored as fat, it decreases the immune function, memory also decreases, as does focus and attention. It's that feeling of being stuck in brain fog or tiredness even after a long sleep, that inability to finish a task even though you've been working hard on it, and things you can usually handle become difficult or impossible. There are also 3 different levels of stress within our nervous systems. The first is attain. At this level, we're resilient. It's a challenge. We have flow and navigate through it. Breathing slows and it's possible to see the bigger picture. Next is tolerable, which gives more of a short-term fight or flight response. Finally, there is toxic, which tends to be where depression and autoimmune issues come in, e.g. susceptibility to infections, bowel disorders, etc. Now, your experience of stress is based on 3 things. First is your stress load. This is your demand versus capacity and causes a true experience of change in your body. Second is your stress lens, which is how your brain perceives stress and is based on your mindset, perspective and non-conscious biases. So ask yourself the question, am I sensitive to stress, e.g. do I see it as a challenge or a threat? And be kind with yourself but honest when answering this. Other interesting things about your stress lens are that 50% is based around your set point, which is based around your genetics and is modifiable with regular brain training. 40% relies on intentional activities, such as how you sleep, eat and move. Only 10% is around the circumstances themselves. Your stress lens also uses your brain's hierarchy from the inside to the outside of its structure. For the purpose of what we are talking about here, imagine your brain is being made up of your survival state, which is your brainstem, and comes with the question, am I safe? Next is your emotional state, which is your limbic system. Here the question is, am I loved? The third is your executive state, which are your prefrontal lobes, and the question is, what can I learn from this? The executive state is where you can start responding rather than reacting to stress. You actively choose what you're going to do, which doesn't necessarily have to be aligned with a trigger. So what does that mean? Let's use the example of a child who is being bullied. They can often get help and support on how to keep calm when it happens as well as afterwards, but not necessarily in stopping the actual bullying. However, this increased calmness allows them to respond by creating a positive change elsewhere in their life, such as supporting and helping others. This builds their own power and resilience, which in turn indirectly can actually help with the bullying. So we talked about stress lows and stress lenses. Now we're on to the third of the three, which is your stress signature. And this is how stress shows up for you. These could be acute signs such as headaches, neck or shoulder tension, or they could be chronic symptoms such as anxiety, fatigue, trouble sleeping and weight gain. Both signs and symptoms tend to be habits, which is great news as it means they are changeable. Please also remember that stress is part of a healthy life. We are in fact designed to deal with its peaks and troughs. It helps us identify what is most important to us and can be a stimulus for positive growth as it's designed to fuel action. I'm going to say this again as this is really important. Stress is part of a healthy life. We are designed to deal with its ups and downs. It also helps us identify what is most important to us and can stimulate positive growth and fuel action. Dr. Heidi Hanna describes this as moving from stress management to stress mastery. Stress management pushes stress down or away, which means it's not used to learn or grow. It's more about running away versus running towards it. Those moments when we distract ourselves with food or alcohol, which makes us feel better in the short but not the long term. Management traps the stress and can make it toxic, which gives rise to the chronic symptoms we spoke about a moment ago of sleeplessness, fatigue, weight gain, etc. However, stress mastery uses stress to fuel positive change and turns stress reactions into responses by moving to the problems and emotion-solving state, the executive state. It allows you to take back some control of your experiences, even when you can't control the circumstance itself. To master stress, you need to use your whole brain and your whole body. This means your body needs to feel calm first before it can then effectively use problem-solving strategies. It's finding peace in the process, finding that calmness even when there is stress. So what helps you when stress happens? Proactively use these strategies as they build your capacity to deal with stress. Also use them reactively to calm your body and mind in the moment. Having strategies that include sensory, feeling and thoughts can create really good results. For example, using aromatherapy oils, stress toys or visualization. Changing your relationship with stress in this way is very powerful. So when stress happens, why not reframe it by saying to yourself, this is a useful sign and is showing me this is something I care about. Some people also try and avoid stress by avoiding certain situations or people, or isolating themselves, or not improving their skill set, or not taking action towards a goal that is meaningful to them. So when stress occurs, also ask yourself the questions, how and why might others see my situation? Do I know of anyone with similar challenges who are moving forward, and how do they do that? This engages the all-important executive state that we touched on earlier. It starts training your brain to look for solutions and creates a habit of moving toward and overcoming obstacles. You really can retrain your brain. Please also check out the mindfully yawning and stretching guided audios on my website, as this is another great strategy for creating new stress response habits. Well, that's it on stress for now. Thank you so much for listening to my first podcast, which I'm so happy to be able to share with you. If you'd like to find out more about life coaching with Jane Baldwin, please visit my website www.janebaldwin.co.uk. You will also see I offer a complimentary discovery call, so please get in touch if this is for you. Warmest regards as always.